Today is the 10th of November, and this day in Baptist history, our reading is a free church in a free state. Our passage of Scripture comes from John chapter 8 and verse 36. If the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed. The name of Isaac Backus shines in the archives of Baptist history. Isaac Backus was born into the family of respectable members of the Congregational State Church in Norwich, Connecticut on January 9th, 1724. The lad grew up in Old New England when that area was blessed of God and experiencing the Great Awakening. Though George Whitefield is considered to have been the primary mover in the Great Awakening, the movement inspired many of other lesser-known men of God to evangelize. In 1741, revival broke out in Backus's hometown, and in November of that year, after grappling with deep conviction, Backus received full assurance of salvation. Many in the Congregational State Churches did not look with favor upon evangelism, and converts, often called new lights, were almost looked upon with suspicion. For this and other reasons, Backus and other converts were sometimes somewhat reluctant to unite with the Congregational Church in Norwich that was led by Dr. Benjamin Lord. However, after 11 months wishing to partake of the ordinance of the Lord's Supper, and being unable to do so without membership, Backus united with the church. In the course of time, the converts of the Great Awakening who were members in the Congregational Church wearied of attempting to revitalize the membership of the church. They began to think of establishing private worship for mutual edification. The old membership, the old lights as they were called, showed no willingness to change, and when the division was at an impasse on November 10th, 1745, Backus and others were excommunicated from the Congregational Church. The churches founded by the converts of the Great Awakening became known as separatist churches, and Backus found himself at home in that movement. God called Isaac Backus to preach, and thus he was ordained and entered into itinerant evangelism for 14 months. His preaching took him throughout Connecticut and Rhode Island and into southeastern Massachusetts. Accompanying another separate pastor, Joseph Snow, to Titicut, that is Titicut, a new parish between Middleborough and Bridgewater. Backus received a call to settle in the place as the permanent preacher. It was not long until Baptist sentiments infiltrated the church, and Reverend Isaac Backus began to study the matter of immersion. For 5 years, the Titicut Church tried to live in peace as a mixed fellowship, allowing both immersion and sprinkling. One can only imagine the irritation that must have been experienced among the congregation. After agonizing with the matter for some time, on August 22nd, 1751, Isaac Backus and 6 fellow church members were immersed on profession of faith in Jesus Christ. Reverend Isaac Backus finally formed a Baptist church, the First Baptist Church in Middleborough. He served for almost 60 years as evangelist, pastor, author, and fighter for religious freedom in early America. It is estimated that Backus traveled over 67,000 miles and preached nearly 10,000 sermons. Now return with me to Norwich, Connecticut. In due time, a Baptist church was founded in Norwich, and it became a strong source of Baptist power in the area. The result was that the Congregational Church suffered financially, and the pastor, Dr. Benjamin Lord, was compelled to collect the church taxes. Armitage quotes Dennison's notes on the Baptists as follows, and I quote, Dennison tells us that he, Dr. Lord, called upon a Mr. Collier, who was a barber, when the following dialogue ensued. Dr. Lord: Mr. Collier, I have a small bill against you. A bill against me, Dr. Lord? For what? Why, your rate for my preaching. For your preaching? Why, I've never heard you. I don't recollect that I ever entered in your meeting house. That's not my fault, Mr. Collier. The meeting house was open. Very well, but look here. I have a small bill against you, Dr. Lord. A bill against me? For what? Why, for barbering. For barbering? I never before entered your shop. That's not my fault, Dr. Lord. My shop was open. End of quote. Let us thank the Lord for the ministry of Reverend Isaac Backus and other men like him. To God be the glory.